The All Smiling Faces podcast is now sponsored by Tyre Spot, the Northeast's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode.
Welcome back to GallowgateShots for your instantaneous match reaction as Newcastle come out 2-1 winners against Spurs at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in a much-needed win for Eddie Howe's side. I'm your host, Joe, and join with me to talk through that 90 minutes are Chris Tunn and Ben. Oh, lads, it feels like a long time coming, doesn't it? And what an absolute relief just to get that over the line. Now, I think best place to start with that. First of all, lads, have you just calmed down because it seemed a little bit at the end there, like not that we were in any major danger with it, but we're inviting a little bit of pressure on, and it felt like, oh, could this be a repeat of some of the previous performances? I mean, Chris, so just give us your general sort of overall feelings of that victory. How's it feel?
I was hoping Sam Matterface was just going to shut up when he was telling. He was like, "They've conceded this many goals in the 90th minute. They're giving away these amount of points." It's like, Sam, just shut the fuck up, man. Like, all do that last 5 minutes. But honestly, it was a massive, massive relief and everything we deserved in that game. To be honest with you, we were much the better team. I know we'll delve into it, but by God, they're shit. So bad. For us to look that good with the way that we've been playing recently is something. But yes, no, we played very, very well. I don't think you can take anything away from us. Yes, okay, Tottenham weren't great, but we were very, very, very decent tonight. Yeah, very, very relieved in the end.
Yeah, Ben, we spoke about this in the preview, the injury crisis that Spurs have, and it was obviously very evident. They still had a fairly decent team that they brought out, though. The likes of Solanke and that. And I thought their midfield, well, threatened, especially the left-hand side. I thought Spence at left back was quite dangerous for them in the early stages. So they were depleted, but they were still, they still had their moments, didn't they? Spurs.
Yeah, they did. But look, Spurs do have injuries. But to be honest, I couldn't really care less about Spurs tonight. We went and got the one. We needed 3 points. It was a massive game for us. Massive game for Eddie Howe. Massive game for the players. We could have folded, and we didn't. So, yeah, I'm just happy that we went and got the 3 points. And rather concentrate on how, obviously, I thought we played really well. And we played really well against better teams than Spurs and looked really good in the first half of games recently and then dropped right off. And at one point, I thought it was going to happen with us again tonight, and it didn't. And we fought back and we held on. So, no, I'm a happy man, smiling.
Love to see it. Right, well, let's talk about the lineup to begin with, because Gordon started up front in that 9 position, as we saw. Well, we've seen a few times this season, recently against Liverpool, and it was a little bit surprising, I thought. I know he's benched Wiss and Voltemada before, but I thought with the rest that they had, he was going to start one of them, but that didn't quite happen. However, it worked. It kind of worked, didn't it?
I mean, I think I was having a conversation in a couple of different group chats. I know we were kind of debating in between ourselves of the sense that Gordon starting, is it the right thing? We've got 130 million worth of player on the bench who is supposed to be a role, which is, again, questioning the recruitment. That's not what this podcast is for. But at the same time, I think, what it kind of brought me back to, because there's been plenty of times where Gordon starting hasn't worked and it hasn't looked great, but the game against Liverpool, I actually really thought it looked pretty decent, especially in the first 45 minutes. So you were kind of that's immediately where my brain went, is that pressing, that speed up top, and it kind of did work for all that. Like, I don't think Gordon did anything particularly brilliantly. We were talking about it in the group chat. I thought he pressed really well. I don't think he didn't set the game on fire. Really good assist for the second goal, in absolute fairness. But at the same time, it's that pressing ability that he has. He has the pace, and it's just not the pace and energy that we get pace for one from Altamada, or the energy that we get from Wissa. So for all that, Gordon has his critics. Some of them I think are maybe a little harsh, but he was absolutely at the forefront of our press, which really did cause them a lot of problems.
Yeah, well, it wasn't just him as well. You had Elanga as well pressing. I thought Willock and Ramsey just pushing up ahead of Bruno were, I mean, they've had their opportunity now, and I feel like they're really taking it. I'm loving seeing Willock Enio coming back and Ramsey getting his goal. We'll obviously, touch on that a little bit later on. But just, I thought even before his goal, Ramsey looked confident. He was a player that was on the front foot. He was a little bit higher up than normal. In his post-match interview, that asked him, how are you feeling? Like a great time to get your debut goal. And he said, yeah, I've played in a few different positions. Obviously had the injury, but I was playing a little bit further up tonight than what I have done previously. And I thought I really paid dividends. Like, and this Spurs team was a Spurs team that could be got at. They were open. They were trying to push us and they were trying to attack themselves, which, in some ways, fair play. But that just left them absolutely exposed. And I think a player that really benefited from that was Elanga. Started the game really well, I thought, some great crosses, but there just wasn't really anyone there, was there? And it felt like we were doing a lot of things really well, but we couldn't quite have that clinical edge in the first 15, 20 minutes, despite how well we were.
Yeah, the first 5 minutes, I think Elanga put 3 balls in, one from a corner, which was a great cross, then another ball in after that, and you're saying that we didn't really have the bodies in the box. I suppose that's the only negative when you don't really get from Gordon's that presence as a number 9. You get the pressing, but you don't get the presence as a number 9. But Elanga generally, I thought was excellent tonight. I really did. I thought it was a really big positive. I think Ramsey got man the match, and probably rightly so after getting the goal as well. But I don't think Elanga could have been far behind them, and he's been getting better week in, week out. I mean, it's not been difficult, to be fair, from the start that he's had, but the last few games, he's definitely improved. You can see he's got a bit more confidence. Do you know what it is? The fans have been given a stick recently about the booing and stuff, and rightly so, probably my opinion. But I think it all started, get a little bit better for him when his name got chanted a few weeks back, and just seemed that he got a bit more confidence, and he's been playing a little bit more on the front foot. And he's getting kicked all over at night. I mean, at times he probably could have stayed on his feet a little bit more, but, it was a terrible tackle from Jed Spence, and he certainly didn't give them an easy game. And he gave us an outlet every time we got the ball. He pressed well. So that's a real positive. And I know we'll probably touch on Ramsey in a little bit again, but, them two came in for a lot of money, and we've all said, it's not worked, but tonight it did. And that was two huge positives for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we started well, and it didn't take that long for us to, what we thought was breaking the deadlock with Willock. Some beautiful, it was a beautiful counter attack, really. Some really nice interplay in the midfield. The ball was threaded in, and to be honest with you, when Willock first scored, because the camera was not, it had him out of shot, so he looked a mile offside when he did get the ball. And then it looked like he took too long in the box. And I thought, why didn't he just shoot? But then he managed to bring himself under control and somehow get the space in time to bury that into the bottom corner. And great finish. And we all thought it was a perfectly legitimate goal and completely onside. And no, because apparently you can now score with your eyebrow.
Honestly.
Which is all it was. It's really disappointing because, he might technically be offside, but how, man? That was so harsh.
What are they talking about? This 5 centimeter of leeway? How big's Joe Lick's forehead? Because I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a 5 centimeter growth on the front of his head. I just don't really understand. Somebody will come out and they'll do the ref watch and whatever, and they'll tell us that, oh no, he's offside. And what advantage is he getting in that moment? And what's this 5 centimeter leeway that we're given to the attacker? Honestly, I think a lot of the time, we talk about VAR and it kills the vibe a little bit, and we talk about offsides and whatever. But most of the time, okay, the offside calls are mostly right? Okay, 95% of the time. But the ones that when it's that close, whatever happened to giving the advantage to the attacker? At what stage is he gaining any sort of advantage? It's one of the most farcical bloody offsides I've ever seen in my life. Like a ridiculous moment. But thank God, by the way, we actually managed to win that game, because I think had we not, would have been sitting here. I'm spitting feathers now. Never mind if we'd bloody lost.
Well, it's crazy when you think that the offside rule was originally put in to stop strikers from goal hanging in the 6-yard box, and we've now got it so that if you're literally like that much, when I saw the freeze frame, I thought, nah, he's completely onside.
He looks
at the end of the day, there's no advantage being held. Like, okay, like I know the lines have got to be drawn somewhere, but at the same time, I think it's sickening because Willock's performance deserved the goal, and not just his performance tonight, but the way he's been growing game on game. You felt like this goal was not coming, but you were kind of hoping that you would have his moment like this. And not to take this away from his performance, because at the end of the day, he was class and he was instrumental in the win. So you kind of take that away from him. But yeah, as Chris, you just said there, it didn't take us long to respond. And respond we did, because Malik Chow, he wanted that ball, didn't he?
Absolutely, yeah. He's done really well. It's a great ball in as well.
From Willock, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was from Willock. Yeah, so
yeah.
I mean, you had obviously the one that he was ruled off for offside. That would have been a Ramsey assist. This was obviously a Willock assist for the Chow one. But yeah, no, it's a cracking ball in. It's unbelievable. And then Chow did really well on the recovery for it. To be honest with you, I think it's in that moment again though. The commentators kind of called out the defending, which I think is right. I mean, Sal's trying to hold him off, and Chow's like, "Oh, right, I sound like I'll just nip in past you." Yeah, and yeah, no, it was a really good, a good save, to be fair to Vicario, to even give him that opportunity to then poke it in. But yeah, cracking ball more than anything, and a really good head.
Yeah, it was so nice to see the desire. Too many times we've not, I think as a fan base, we've kind of criticized the players for not being there for the second balls, maybe not fighting enough to get scrappy like we used to. But that was a perfect example of like the old school Eddie Howe side, where you're not going to take no for an answer. You're just going to batter through players and get to that ball no matter what. And for all Malik Chow has played about 1,700 games this season, for him to be that sharp was absolutely phenomenal. And now he's the joint top defensive goals in the league this season, which is absolutely phenomenal.
Ironically, two Spurs players, isn't it? I think Romero and
it was Romero and was it Van der Ven?
Yeah, Van der Ven.
I think it is. Yeah.
Aye. So absolutely fantastic, and we're getting to the break of 1-0 up, deservedly so. I think if we hadn't have gone in 1-0 up, it's hard to say because we've typically played games of two halves as throughout the season, where we've come out and we've not started as well, or we've just let the opposition get back into it, but getting that goal gave us confidence, and it kind of carried on, didn't it, in the second half? Like, we were still pressing them, carving out chances, and it took probably about 15 minutes for Spurs to actually find their feet a bit. But that's when they started shooting outside the box, and something we haven't seen a lot of us do this season, but they were just kind of taking these half chances and testing Nick Pope a bit. And that's what I thought, we're giving these a little bit too much leeway here.
Yeah, until that point, I thought we start off well the second half, and that's a big bugbear of mine this season. We don't start off the second half well in games, and we haven't. We're always on the back foot, and we did actually for 10-15 minutes. I thought we were in control, but then you say Spurs start to come into it, and I thought we're starting to tire a little bit. I know we were talking in the group chat and stuff about things, and I was saying, look, we need to freshen up a little bit now, make a few changes, and I didn't. Well, said that, and then they went and scored. They were always going to get in the game at some point, I guess. They're at home. It's a massive game for them as well, like massive game for the manager. So you probably got to expect to come through a spell. And we didn't. I don't want to come on to talk about the goal, but that's probably the only real negative for me today. If I was going to take one thing, it was probably another set-piece goal that I think the goalkeeper should do a hell of a lot better for. I'm not sure what he's doing. I know he was trying to say he got blocked off, but you've got to be stronger there. If you're going to come, you've got to actually come for the ball. He didn't, and we're conceded again. I couldn't help but think, and here we'll go again, to be honest, at that time. But
it's
classic. We looked tired, didn't we? That's the problem. I think we were screaming in the group chat to get some early subs, or not early subs, because it was about 60 minutes in, really, when they scored, I think. And we were, it looked like it was coming. We were slowing down. We were giving them all the ball. We were struggling to get out of our own third, really. And that's when we were saying, get some subs in the midfield. Maybe get Snarly on just to get a bit of legs in there. I think we were kind of debating whether to put Romero on or not, because that would change the sort of way that we were going to approach the game. But I felt we did need it. And then they scored, and you think, here again. Like, they've deserved now from this game, yet we're somehow gifting them this back. And that's it as well. Well, this is it as well. I felt like we were gifting them possession back way too easily. The amount of times we were just booting the ball out. I know when you're defending deep, you have to just kind of do that to regroup. But I felt like we were just giving them recycled possession back way too quickly, way too easily, almost like inviting it back in when we could have had different avenues, have the midfield, open up channels to pass out. And it just felt like we were kind of running out of ideas. And then they scored. However, we've done something that's slightly uncharacteristic of us. We've recovered from going a goal, well, not goal behind, but from conceding. Straight away, we're back into it.
Yeah, and it's a really, really good goal. I kind of just wanted to touch there as well about their kind of moments that they were going to have. To me, it was like, they're at home and they may be awful, but they're always going to have some time, because we pretty much dominated the game up until that point. They're always going to have a little bit of a spell to a certain degree, but I agree. It did feel as if, honestly, I was really surprised to see Willock on as long as he was. He looked knackered from about 50 minutes into the game, to be honest with you. Rightfully so. He ran around like a headless chicken, to be honest with you. But like, to the point of going at the second goal, though, again, that's a moment where Gordon does well to create that. But I think you've got to give all credit to the finish from Ramsey. I'm buzzing to see him score, by the way, because I think he's one of those signings that a lot of people are being kind of questioning. But you know what it is? I think, again, he's kind of been growing. I don't think he had ever, like, in the same sense of Elanga, had as many bad performances, just kind of like, not even under the radar, but just underwhelming performances, like not really doing much. Whereas today, like, and against PSG, really starting to get himself more involved in the game. He has done that on a couple of occasions, so he does seem to be kind of getting his feet in that position and in the team a little bit more now. So I think the problem is, though, is that you need players like that who are coming into the team to start having a bit of a run. And it's hard to do that when we've got so many games. You obviously want to like chop and change as much as you can for the fitness. But yeah, no, took his goal really, really well. And you could see with his celebration as well how much it meant to him as well to get his first goal. Well, not in black and white, but obviously in blue and orange. And yeah, a really, really good finish though. Very, very tidy. And I thought he was really good the entire game. But good assist from Gordon as well. Really solid.
Yeah. It's nice to see him and Willock. It was similar to Willock's goal against PSG in terms of kind of the run and the position in the box that they had, where they were almost unmarked and they were able just to get that into the bottom right corner. And we've kind of been crying out for that from our midfielders, haven't we, Ben? Just to have a bit more of a threat in the box and have like another outlet. And
it's an interesting thing because I'll be honest, I always thought Ramsey and Willock, when we first signed, are going to be too similar. I didn't ever see them both playing in the same team. And ironically, their two best performances have probably come when they've both played together tonight and at PSG. And arguably, probably maybe it's Everton's side, obviously, our best two away performances this season as well have both actually come with them two in the team, which I would have thought would have been the case. I would have thought they would have gotten each other's way, but they're both quick and they both push her up the pitch. And on the break, that really suited her, to be fair. And it's made a difference for them to actually playing in there and give her energy, will control the game. And I think something with Ramsey that is probably overlooked a little bit. He's very good in possession. And it's one of the things that we aren't great at, to be fair. And he went off today, and I think there was a noticeable difference of how good we were on the ball and retaining possession. He takes the ball in some tight areas and he very rarely loses it. He's very, very tidy on the ball. And I think that's probably something I wasn't really expecting from him. I was expecting more of what we got with the goal today. But that side of his game, actually, he's really added to us when we've been away from home. And it's a good string to a ball that I didn't actually think that we would have. And obviously, what I'm sure we'll touch on later on, I'm guessing, with Bruno, but they're going to be playing a lot more football, I would imagine, the next few weeks as well. So,
Yeah.
No, very positive performance from the two of them.
Yeah, Chris already mentioned it, but Gordon for that goal was so good. I've never liked Gordon through the middle. I've thought he did. I mean, even before, I think it was about half time, I said in the group chat, he's not really offering that much. He's getting in about and he's probably drawing defenders here and there, but he's not getting on the ball. He's not that being that much of a threat in the box that you want a number 9 to be. He was dropping quite deep. I think the commentators were calling him a false 9, whatever term you want to use. He was playing really deep to try and link the play up, but then the problem with that is the great crosses that the likes of Elanga were getting into the box in that first half, they weren't being really met by anyone. But having said that, how much we were pressing Spurs for our second goal and how much space they gifted us in the box, I suppose, and to an extent just allowed Gordon to drift in to kind of do what he does best. And it was really good to see. It's a confidence booster for him as well, But yeah, absolutely great goal, and it was just good character from the team to go from conceding like that, a really sort of cheap goal out of nothing really, and then to get straight back into it.
On that question, just ask you two what you think. Do you think that we're seeing this work obviously away from home against teams who like obviously we can press a little bit, but actually have a go? Obviously, Spurs had to have a go to a degree today, but we pinned them back in. Do you think that would work at St James's if we're playing against teams who are just going to sit in and defend deep? Do you think that front three would be as effective? Or?
Yes, I think Gordon arguably fits the profile of our success under Howe more so than the 2 strikers that were signed.
For the pressing.
I can see what you mean by that.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, whether or not he's actually going to produce the goals or not is another thing. But as far as like the actual like way that Eddie wants to play and that pressing, that high intensity side of things, Wissa, I don't know if he's still just not fit because he's not slow. Waldemar isn't that guy by any stretch, through no fault of his own. That's just not the player he is. So I think for Gordon to put himself in those positions is something that definitely helped us. I mean, again, I'll kind of hop back to it. That first 35, 40 minutes up against Liverpool, I thought we were fantastic. You can't, just hedge it on that. But again, that's from him putting himself in those positions. I think, he does well in that. But again, it's then you ask that question because he's your starting striker. You want him to be in position to score goals, and he doesn't put himself there because he's not that player. So it's like, you kind of just need somebody with the legs and the pace of Gordon, but who is an actual striker. And to the point of like putting the balls in and stuff as well. I think we were kind of chatting about how, look at all these crosses we're whipping in. Look at all these corners we're whipping in. And Waldemar not on the pitch. But my argument would be Waldemar wouldn't be in the fucking box. So I'm kind of just like, well, what difference would it make to a certain degree?
Okay, but can I put this to you though? Can we not just tell Waldemar to get into the box? Well, like, the main reason he hasn't been in the box is because he's having to come deep to be almost that like Harry Kane-esque figure where you're linking up play. But yeah, I think Waldemar has worked best when we've basically delivered balls into the box. You think his debut against Wolves, he got the header. I think of Everton away when Elanga put him in, he dinked Pickford. Like, obviously, I think was it Brentford where he scored the back heel.
Flick.
It might have been, but like he's shown glimpses of like absolute magic and real technical ability in the box. That's where I feel like we need to just get him in there. But to do that, sorry, go on, Chris.
It makes me wonder what. Yeah, no, but it makes me wonder what they're telling him to do though, because
yeah, I know,
because I know the profile of what he is, and like in the sense of like we know what he wants to have that ball on the feet, etc. But then again, you're pointing out all these examples of where he's done well in the box, but he's not putting himself there. So what are the management telling him to do? It's kind of.
Sorry, go on, Chris.
It's kind of the same sense of like when Elanga at the start of the season, like when he's not running into space and he's asking for a short, or they're asking him to come short instead of running into space. It's like, what are we coaching Elanga to do? What are we coaching Nick to do? Like, that's the question that rings in my head quite often for them too. Not so much today for Elanga specifically because I thought he was meant, but go on, Ben.
I was going to say, it'd be interesting to see Waldemar with the profile of midfielder that we played with today. Because I think what he does need is players getting beyond him, midfielders. And with Willock and Ramsey playing the role he did today, that's what you'd expect to happen. So players who would actually got the pace to get beyond him. It'd be interesting to maybe see that dynamic of him actually coming deep and players going past him. you're not going to get the press, though. I think that's probably the hardest part. But get him in the box. I mean, that's getting in the box, and he's got the height that he's got. You'd expect him to cause problems when you're putting that many crosses in. I know he's not the best in the air, but let's not forget he has scored a few headers this year as well, and some decent ones at that. So it's not as if he can't head at the ball.
Should we move on to the subs that came on to see out the game? Obviously, what was it? Ramsey came off for Tonali, right? And then you had Big V come on and Asula as well for Gordon and Alanga.
That's right. Then Hall came on for Bruno.
Yeah, a Hall came on for Bruno. Yeah, well, we'll get on to that. So it was funny actually. Like Asula. He had he had a really good opportunity to put in. Oh, it was Murphy came on, didn't he? Yeah.
He did. Sorry.
Yeah, he had such a good opportunity to play Murphy in late in the game. He had all the space in the world just to dink it, and he tried to take on like 3 players. Honestly, man, Asula is just like an absolute enigma.
Like, if he had a footballing brain, he'd be one of the best players on the planet. So God, it's just,
honestly,
he's so athletic.
It's so interesting watching him play. Like you're just like, what are you gonna do? And then you think he doesn't know what he's gonna do.
No,
so
he hasn't got a clue. I did want to touch on one of the substitute performances though. I really don't want to be negative, but I thought Tonali was absolutely shit when he came on.
He was.
He gave the ball away so many times, and I'm like, the amount of times I'm like, it's not often that I'm whinging at Sandro.
What's going on?
Mate, honestly, so many times. And again, I don't want to pull it into negativity, but I was like, mate, what is going on with him at the minute? Like so many times, I've never known so many times me shouting at the TV, like, Sandro, man, like, what are you doing? Like,
Sandro, no.
Like I know, and it's not like I really. It's very, very rare. I feel like that, but like, if I was to pick on one minor negative, but it's the kind of at the point that you're bringing Sandro and you're thinking, all right, yeah, good on the ball. He's going to be able to distribute it nice and calm. Just give it away like 5 times, and I was like, this is just not what we need, like at all. Like, weird cameo, to be honest.
Yeah, well, we pretty much played like a 4-5-1 because then Voltamata was playing like as the 8 almost. It was like it was in this bank. He was kind of in the middle. Then you had Asula at the top, which I get because Asula's just going to run around and try and press the back line. So it is what it is, and I don't think that they had much of an impact really. But the main negative from tonight is the fact that Bruno went in for a tackle, and Lord knows what he did, but it looks bad. I mean, I don't know if it was his hamstring or his knee or what, but he went down almost like locking his leg and didn't look good.
Had a knee injury. Was it his ankle actually when he was out recently? It was his ankle, wasn't it, that he done it? Didn't look good, but he didn't. You could see him going to players saying it wasn't right after the game. Now, don't get us wrong. I've seen Bruno, honestly, I've seen him where I thought he snapped his leg in two in games. He's rolling around and I'm like, his season's over. And then 30 seconds later, he's running around and he's fine. But this wasn't that because he came off, which obviously he doesn't do. And then after the game, I mean, the fact he's walking on it, I suppose if you want to take a few pluses, he's walking on it. I think best case, you're going to hope it's a really severe thing, a cramp or something along the lines of that. But if it's his knee, it's not going to be that. I don't know. It didn't look great. The only thing is, I don't know would it be about 2 minutes before he actually went off? The commentator picked up on it, didn't he? Saying, he was signaling to come off.
He did.
And then he decided
he was all right.
Yeah, but then he decided,
I'm okay.
I'm staying on. Should we have took him off then? Should we have been precautionary? Or have you got to go with what the player's saying himself and you leave him on? It's a difficult one, isn't it? Should he be saying, actually, look, I need to go off here? Because he went down and he really went down when he did go down, and he suddenly was up, and I thought, it's just Bruno being Bruno. But I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too much into it kind of thing there, but we'll really miss him. I think everybody knows the stats when he hasn't played. Like, he's such a pivotal player for the club and character as well. So you just got to hope it's not long term. Issue being, if he's out for 2 weeks now, you missed 4 games. It's not as if, do you know what I mean? It's absolutely crazy.
So Blue Rhythm Boy says Eddie said it looks like a hamstring injury post match.
Yeah. It was this. It looked like he really stretched for the ball, and then straight. He was saying he felt something like pull. So hopefully,
I'll say one thing. There was a time not long ago when he pulled up with an injury on like the Wednesday, and he was going to be out for 6 weeks, and then he started on the Sunday. So
That's true.
we'll see what it's like
You
with
never
Bruno. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Fingers crossed it's nothing major, because as we all know, he's absolutely pivotal to everything that we do. And the season's tough enough without him being injured. So we'll see. So we kind of saw the game out. It was it wasn't even much of a storm. It was like a light breeze, wasn't it? There was one chance that they had. It was a Van der Ven, wasn't it? Golden opportunity. Well, Solanke tried to overhead kick it, lovely block by Byrne, and then it kind of fell to Van der Ven. You think to yourself, oh my God, like it would be absolutely typical Newcastle and jammy Spurs to see that through into, like, I kind of like the reverse fixture, with Romero with that overhead kick, and to undo all that hard work would be absolutely tragic. But fortunately, it hit Rose Ed, and even more fortunately, there weren't any Spurs fans left for it to hit. So we were saved there. Full time went, and the reaction from the players was incredible. I thought, shout out to the away fans, by the way, for tonight. Eddie Howe's Black and White Army, singing the hearts out, backing the lads, backing the manager from minute 1 as well, all the way through to the end. And the scenes at the end with the away fans were exactly what we needed. I thought Eddie Howe getting pushed in front to celebrate with the fans was just the best bit of the whole night. My gaffer. That's my gaffer. And I'm so happy for him. I know that this win against Spurs doesn't remove or solve any of the major issues that we do have, and there are still a lot of conversations to be had about where this team's going, but right now that was the pickup that we needed, I think. And it was just nice, after how difficult things have been recently, just to have a bit of a air of positivity. And it was just great to see.
Yeah. And I think it deserved. Chris has put in the comments here. He said last night, questioning like whether the players are still playing for him, and that really did prove that they are. It was a really, I don't want to say a battling performance, but it was an energetic one. But it was a win that he needed, though, as well. Absolutely needed on a few different fronts, in the sense of like to get a bit of positivity going again for the 3 points for himself, and also because of the fixtures that we got coming up as well. Like if you go on, you lose that game, and then all of a sudden, like who we have coming up in the Premier League, then that all of a sudden looks even more daunting, and the position all of a sudden looks a lot worse. So a crucial 3 points that he needed to get a hold of now, because it isn't going to get any easier. I'd argue it is going to get harder every single game than that one was by some stretch. So yeah, need to build on it is what I would say. Really, really good performance. I like the selection in the end with the result that we get to see, and we just need to build on it. We need to keep playing the players that are playing well. Again, I said the other night on the review of the Brentford game, I just don't know why Elanga wasn't starting that one as well. To be honest, he should be fresh. I think keep starting him at this stage, because he looks like he's building in confidence. He's creating a little bit more. He's starting to really get into the kind of player that a lot of us thought we were getting from Forest at this stage. He's not quite the finished product, but I think if he played like that every single game, everyone would be like, "Aye, right, this is a bit more like it." So I think we need to see more of him, more of Ramsey, which we may well get to see, whether Bruno's injured or not as well. It's the 3 points that you get, though, that is important ultimately. But we need to build on it. Need to build on these good performances, because how many times have we said this season, "Oh, but that was good. That was a good performance," or "That was a good half," and then the next game back to shite. Need to build on it.
100%. I'll end on this. We're in the dizzying heights of 10th right now. We are on 36 points. And currently we are, dare I say, we are only, what is it, 3 points off the top 6?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's good. I know we've been saying this pretty much every week, every game since we started the season, but it's still very much a tight table. So a win's a win, Europe, ole, ole, ole.
I'm not getting excited.
I'm joking, man. I'm joking before your comments get in, man. I know it's a long way to go, but we've done well tonight, haven't we?
We have great win.
Yeah. Anything more to say, lads, before we end it?
No, not for me. That's just positive 3 points. Onwards and upwards.
Spot on. Right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. There's been over 100 of you watching live tonight. So, yeah, let us know what you thought about that win. And is that going to actually propel us and help us with momentum going into Aston Villa at the weekend? We'll see. I've been your host, Joe. Thanks to Chris and Ben for joining me on this one. One, you know, get in.